It's recording.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so as I was saying, it's been I think probably about 2 months since our last meeting due to the holidays. I'm just wondering if anyone has anything to report since then, since our last meeting. In between our last meeting and this one, I've been in contact with the community affairs, and I have been able to get some resolutions for certain things. Certain things were investigated based on what was reported by some of us on the committee here, and there was some progress. The community affairs person that I've been in contact with assures me that someone from the community affairs office will be present at our board meeting this Wednesday. And I guess, is there anything that you guys have noticed or want to report since our last meeting?
Good evening. This is Hazel Martinez. I think in the past, these people used to come to the committee meeting, and I think that that would be more beneficial because most people aren't at the board meeting.
Oh, you
They
mean
have to be on Zoom.
most of the people on the committee, you mean?
Yeah, most of the people on the committee are not going to be at the board meeting.
Oh, um,
And that's one. Two, we're not allowed to speak.
well, at the board meetings, I think that,
Not to our satisfaction.
oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, there's like a period where they allow us to ask any questions. Um,
Barely.
um, well, when they come to the meeting tomorrow, after they give their report, there's gonna be a period when they're finished that we will be able to speak with them directly. Somebody, 718 number, I think you might need to mute.
Yeah, it was a grave counterintelligence threat because when he worked for the the Trump campaign in 2016, he was.
Is this the person with the 7185 number ends with two ones? Could you mute, please?
Yeah, Cameron. Hello?
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 Yes, who's this?
Eduardo Cameron.
Who?
Eduardo Cameron.
Oh, yes. Hi, how you doing today?
Very good, man. Sorry, a little late.
All right. I'm just in the middle of addressing something. If it looks like the noise in the background is gone now. Yeah, so as I was saying, when they're done giving their report, we could speak with them directly, even though we may not be able to have a lengthy discourse with them while they are speaking. But I guess for the short period of time that they are there, I mean, we can try to get out the most relevant questions. I mean, I don't think that there needs to be a very lengthy discourse, meaning that I don't think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. I think that there's at least one question that needs to be answered, and that is, what are they going to be able to do to address all the issues once and for all? And how are we going to be able to keep them engaged so that we don't have these issues piling up again? I mean, I think that we can ask the most important questions while they're there, and then we can follow up with them after they're finished. What do you guys think about that?
Mr. Hill? I don't
Yes.
know if you got a chance to see the feedback I gave you to their investigation. I responded back to you with the pictures that you gave me,
Right.
and I was a little disturbed based on the response because it was not truthful.
It
So,
wasn't.
no, it was not. And I'm supposed to keep a positive mindset while I'm doing this healing process during this um, recovery I'm going through. So I'm trying to stay positive.
Right.
So um, that's why I had to make a decision whether I'm going to come on this call or not.
I appreciate you
So
being here.
yes, and so if you read my email that I responded based on the pictures they provided you, it
Okay.
explains in detail that when I complained about the side of the street that they did not clean on, they gave you the pictures of the opposite side where the businesses are. Okay, my ticket was from my side of the street, not the other side where the Fazios are. So if I gave you a picture, if I said my complaint was on one side of the street, why are you giving me pictures of the other side of the street? And if I told you that it was a corner of Farragut on Troy and Farragut, why are you giving me the view of Troy and Foster? So that's misleading. Okay. So it's called, yeah, it's statistics. You can average things out. You can persuade someone to say, oh yeah, we did our job because you're given the viewpoint of a different perspective. So if you're taking pictures, I could take pictures of anything that I want to and say the job was done. And the job, and if you're telling me that they cleaned up, they continuously cleaned up, where were the statistics showing that the sweeper came early and he cleaned the street? How many times did he come on time within a 30-day period and did his job? That's meaningful. Not and how many times did he miss within that 30-day period? Because that's the problem. Not that somebody sat in a car and took a picture. And I can't come out there. I can't drive for another 2 weeks. So I cannot be at the board meeting in person. So to stand there and to address that with them in the back of the room, I won't be able to do that. So if you can address that with them, that would be
Yeah,
great.
I definitely will.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure, of course. Um, yeah, I'm going to definitely have everything that you put in the email available to go over with them, and I'll definitely do that in person with them on Wednesday. Um, was there anyone else that had anything to add? Um, so there's also another issue that I've been, found myself basically at a wall. I've been trying to get someone from Senator Parker's office to come to our meeting, and I basically have been ignored. I've sent out several emails requesting someone to show up because I was told that a lot of the issues, or quite a few of the issues that the problem areas are within his district that he's supposed to be, managing or overseeing. And I have sent out emails and I have received no responses from his office. And I was, it was suggested to me that considering that the borough president is going to be up for reelection, that this would be a good opportunity to try to put some pressure on him, to put some pressure on people that feel like I'm not important enough to respond to. So I am going to be trying to see if at the meeting on Wednesday I can speak with he has a representative there every Wednesday, and I'm going to speak with her and see what we can do about having some of our elected officials play a more significant role here, because I mean, at the end of the day, this is what they've been elected to do. And I don't think that we hold them accountable enough for that. And I think that is the next step that I'm going to try to take in order to get something done. Maybe we should take our roll call now.
Hi, good evening. This is Leonie Logan, committee member.
Thank you. Hello.
Good evening, this is Eduardo Cameron, committee member.
Hello.
Vanessa Kalashi, committee member.
Hazel Martinez.
Monica McCain.
Lydia
Brown,
Perrin
committee.
Robinson.
There's a bit of overlap just now. Could we do the two of you one more time, please?
Lydia Perrin Robinson, committee member.
Okay, thank you.
Monica McCain Brown, committee member.
David Smith, member.
Simone Sylvester, committee member.
Well, appreciate everyone coming to the meeting tonight. Seems that, maybe some or most or all of you guys are frustrated and maybe feeling a little hopeless about these issues. I can't blame you. But we can't give up, and it's hard. It's hard to sell hope right now, because I know that you guys have been trying to resolve these types of issues long before I was involved in anything, and it's kind of the same thing over and over again. And yeah, I can't blame you. Yeah, I'm just gonna make another opportunity to encourage the idea of doing something more than just reaching out through emails and phone calls, because they seem to have the same results over and over again. And I personally have always thought that something more needs to be done, something more direct, and that would have a significant impact, and I think would bring on the change that everyone, I think, apparently wants. I just don't know if you all are ready to do that at this point, but I'm going to continue to keep trying to go about it in the way that I've been doing it, and uh, hoping that this Wednesday will bring some results. So.
Mr. Hill, this is Leonie Logan. Yes, you have a group of us here on this committee that are completely frustrated. And a number of us have been on this committee for quite some time. And it seems that every time the issues just keep piling over and over, and we have the same issues. I hope that on Wednesday, when you have somebody there, that it will be a start, that maybe we can have somebody who will actually be listening and responsive enough to do something. As an FYI, the Precinct Community Council had a meeting called a meeting in February 22nd or 23rd. I'm not looking at the calendar right now, but it was over at Nazareth, and it was a meeting to try to bring the agencies there and our elected officials. The elected officials showed up, the agencies did not. And so this is one of the problems. We keep getting dumped on in more ways than one, with the dumping that's on the street, the dumping that's everywhere, and the dumping from these agencies that just don't seem to want or care in the community to be responsive. So I hope on Wednesday you will have a good listening ear.
Yeah, I understand, and that is definitely the plan. I think there's a greater chance for that when you're able to speak to someone face to face, and stress upon them the urgency of the situation. And I really think that our elected officials are able to do more than they're doing. You know, I can make every phone call, I can send out every email, I can do all those things. I could do it 1,000 times. But at the end of the day, I personally am not anyone of any significance to these people. And, you know, none of us are, but our elected officials are. And we are supposed to hold them accountable to make sure that they hold the agencies accountable. And, you know, if they're not doing that, then we need someone else sitting in those seats that are going to do it. You know, it's like we're bypassing, you know, the next lever that needs to be pulled, and, you know, we're trying to reach around to something that we don't necessarily have access to. I mean, we might be able to see it. We know what we need, which are the agencies to do their job, you know, but it's the elected officials that are supposed to put the pressure on them to do their job. And we're supposed to pressure the elected officials to make sure they do it. So
This is Hazel Martinez. I see those same elected officials you're speaking of doing the job elsewhere. They just don't do it here, and we don't hold them accountable at all. Everyone has, sidled up to whoever they feel comfortable with, and they are willing to accept the nothing that we get. And with ranked choice voting, that's how we got this borough president we had. The one we had before didn't care less about his neighborhood either, and he's now the mayor. So I don't see, I don't see anything here. I just think, but on the ground level, if you don't bring those people to here, where the people who are concerned about sanitation are on this committee, and they should be able to speak to that person right here at this meeting. And not just sanitation, DEP is also part of this committee, and that doesn't get addressed at all in this arena here. And I mean, I went to something on Friday night, I believe it was, or Saturday, about the flooding area, and it's FloodNet NYC is something that's between CUNY and NYU, and is sponsored by, it is funded by DEP, and they have funding for 500 flooding sensors, and not one of them is in this community, not even in Canarsie, where they have it all the time. And we have a lot of floods. I mean, it's in Prospect Park Slope and a little bit outside of Crown Heights and Williamsburg, because they had one flooding episode. And no one speaks for us over here. We don't even know that these things exist. You know, I'm able to give them places where I think we should see them. And I mean, flooding is a serious problem in this community, has been for years, and it's been ignored. The catch basins aren't cleaned on a regular basis like they used to be years ago. I've lived around here a long time, and I've been on this committee a really long time, and I've seen it better. I mean, still to this day, Flatbush Gardens has their garbage sitting out there on the street in a pile with rats running all over the place. No, nobody's making them put, and Clipper Equities that owns that place, they have never gotten the dumpsters or the compactors they were supposed to get over the years. That has never happened. And now they're about to build another 900 units over there by Sears, part of which will be in our district. So I just see us going backwards and never forward.
I think that you're right about all that. And I was having a conversation with another executive board member, and I was discussing the reality that, when the elected officials come or their representatives come to our meetings, they're given the opportunity to give these fluff reports talking about things that are not really a priority. And it just gives the illusion that they're doing something significant or something at all. And, that person I was speaking with expressed frustration because we're not supposed to, I guess, really prolong, their ability to make their reports during our meetings. And, I said that, even though that may be true, we're always asked if anyone has any questions. And I think what would be a good thing to do during every one of these elected officials or the representatives, every single time that they get up there, is that we just completely disregard whatever it is they're talking about, and we just pose the questions that we need to address with them so that they can be on the spot and have to deal with it at that moment. And I think, that would be something that they're not accustomed to. And, if you want things to be different, you got to do different things. So I think that's something that we should look into doing at this meeting on Wednesday.
The problem is the people that come are not the elected official, but the representative, who are pretty much non-decision makers. And so all that is kind of a futile effort to me.
I understand that. I think that if we make a strong enough point, or we establish the severity of what we need to address with the elected official in regards to the idea that, their position may be in jeopardy if these issues aren't addressed, I think that representative will make sure to get that message to the elected official.
Most of the time they're unopposed, so that's not even, realistic, unfortunately.
Okay, that may be true. But maybe there's something that can be done about that too. Maybe they need to be put in a position to have to fight for their job for once.
True.
You know, at the end of the day, the reality is that we have the power to make these things come true, and we have that ability through who we vote for, right? And maybe in the other communities where they are doing their job, they are concerned about keeping their job, which is why they do it. Because those people in those communities make sure that they understand that they're not necessarily untouchable. And maybe that is one of the failings that we in the community um, need to fix. We
But
need to put. Mhm.
do you look at how we treat each other in general? um, Especially people, us Black people, we have no respect for each other in most circumstances. The way I see people's behavior on the street, the way they drive, the loudness, it's a general thing. It's not just singled out to sanitation. It is. We have more respect for others. Things that we don't do elsewhere, we make sure to do it where we're living. And and unless that changes, this whole because some of the sanitation problems we have are our own doing. People don't know what a garbage can is for. I mean, if you see a public trash can, you have to put all sorts of things in it, mattresses. I mean, we throw things in the street unnecessary. There's no reason to throw something in the street. Find a can or keep it till you can throw it away. They have dogs just all over the place and no one cleans up after their dogs. I mean, it's just a total, I don't know, it's just out of control.
Yeah, I understand. Um,
And
I
now,
think.
and
Mhm.
now they're urinating on the streets, okay, and defecating.
Yep. That's not new either.
Who wants to clean up human waste?
No one. Um,
Exactly. And we
you know,
got the nerve to put up the sign Little Haiti, spending all that money to put up a sign that says Little Haiti instead of addressing the bigger problem. We put up more signs to rename a street than to clean up our own community. I'm sick and tired of seeing another street be renamed and to sit there and look at another liquor license or another store looking for to get a weed spot. The city of Yes is going to attack us very soon. And we're not going to look like anything like we are now. We're going to be a graveyard. And everyone's just walking like sheep.
well, all that's definitely true. Um,
And our elected
but Mhm.
officials are just signing away because they don't own anything. They all are renters. That's a problem. That's a big problem.
I think that if enough people come together with um, the same things in mind that you just discussed, which I do think that there are enough people that definitely are aware of what you just said. And I think that, you know, there could be enough momentum by this group. It does not have to be a large group, it doesn't have to be everyone. But all it needs to be is enough to gain attention. And if that group is relentless in its, uh, you know, desire to make these changes happen, I think that there would be a domino effect that would eventually touch on everything that you just said. And it may be that, people that currently just are not very respectful, not very thoughtful about their neighborhood, once they see that the neighborhood is being kept well by the agencies that are supposed to do it, everything it's mental. Everything is perspective. And I think in most cases, once you get a consistency with the kind of care that we know that we need in the community, that it will definitely touch other people and make people actually care to maintain what they have. But we have to start with getting the agencies involved and make them do their job. And we have to get that done by making the elected officials do their job. And to do that, we're going to have to make some changes addressing those elected officials. And even if that means coming up with some person, just a name, for them to think that there is someone running against them, someone that has a chance, someone that has to make them think twice about not getting their job done, then that's what it's going to take. This is all chess. It's all chess, and you just have to make the right moves and to win. And just reaching out to them is asking them to do what they have to do. It's not enough. You guys know it's not enough. I know it's not enough. So it's all about strategy. And I think that the efforts that we need to put in place need to be here. And then once these efforts are made, once our voices are acknowledged, once these elected officials are forced to care about what we have to say, that's when you're going to see the changes. And, just like you just said, sitting there and talking about liquor licenses and all this nonsense, like this is stuff that we do not need to be going over in the community when you've got piles of garbage on the street. When people want to sit there and get their liquor licenses, for example, this is, I think, a really good example of what I'm talking about. Those people line up to get voted on. We should all stand up and walk out. And we should say, listen, you guys want to sit there and get us to vote on this stuff? We'll do that as soon as sanitation starts doing their job. You want us to sit here and listen to your presentation of these elected officials, the representatives? As soon as they get up to that podium, we step out. We're not listening to anything you have to say until these things are taken care of. This is how you grab their attention. It's not by sitting there and allowing them to waste your time, waste my time, waste the community time with their fluff, because that's all it is.
Well, the only ones that can vote for that is the committee members, the board members, and you got
Right.
a lot of chicken butts on your board, and they all are followers. So
Well,
most of them.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely some of them.
Yeah. I'm going to call a spade a spade, and so one looks at the other one and sees how they're going to vote, and they're going to go that way, and a couple will abstain. And then the other ones will go yes if they wake up to find out what they're voting for. That's how it goes.
As a board member, I object to that.
You can object to that, but I've been listening to it for a very long time, and I've seen it in person. And you may be one that may stand up for your rights, but there are some that should be off the board, and they've been on there too long, and they need to get off.
And as a former board member, I agree, because I've seen people walk out the room so they don't vote, or sit there or just arrive and haven't heard the poor explanation that is given to them, and they vote yes to anything.
Well, I'm just going to say that, You know, I think that if the board members really discussed what you just said, for example, and the impression that the community, you know, has of what you just described, that I think that there can be some changes. You know, I think that change is a good thing. I think that we all should be open to the idea of change, and there might be some better ways to serve the community rather than addressing liquor licenses and weed shops, as you just said. And I think that we waste a lot of time during these meetings talking about things that are not relevant. And I think that these things happen because we allow them to happen,
Yeah,
and we do not have to allow them to
Exactly.
happen.
yeah,
I
because
agree.
we lost our banks, we lost our pharmacies, we've lost our music shops, we lost our dry cleaners. We've lost a lot of good businesses, and no one's talking about bringing something back that's meaningful. Avenue D is a ghost town.
Good.
It used to be vibrant. Now, the only thing you see is a Chinese restaurant, a dead supermarket, a meat market, a fish market, and and a couple of Dominican um, hair
Yeah.
places and a barber shop. And the rest of it, even our councilwoman moved off of there. So what's left?
You know,
And
it's
they
like,
can't, yeah, it's
yeah,
bad.
yeah, it's like they give us just enough to survive, you know, and
Not
when you,
enough.
well, in their opinion, and you know, when you do that to people, when you know, deprive them of the ability to see beyond what is placed right in front of them, you basically have them under control, you know, because this is all that people in the community will expect. Like, there's nothing more that we can get out of this. You know, we just have to do enough to go to work and make enough to be able to put food on the table, where putting food on the table is, you know, a privilege, you know, for us to be able to do that. And then you have other communities where they demand more,
Hmm.
you know.
Well, I find them a lot of people. There are two things. One, people in the community don't really demand anything. They're just whatever it is. And the rest of us don't do business here. We just drive away. When I want something, I get in my car and I leave. There's nothing here. There's no restaurants really. All of them is the same food, type of food. There's no variety. There's nothing here. It's not a community anymore. It doesn't have the components of a community. You don't have banking. Kevin Parker sits on the committee. He's been on that banking committee since I've been on this board, and I can't even tell you how many years that's been. And we've gone from little to none. We don't have any. There's pharmacies are all gone. There's nothing. There's no real, one or two little mediocre supermarkets. If you want things, you have to go outside of here. So this is no longer community. There are no real schools. They're just charter schools. I mean, all of that. There's no high school. There's nothing. And it wasn't like this 50 years ago. Not even 20 years ago. So now it's nothing. Now you don't. The other day, one of my neighbors came to me and they came and gave out ticket for a place where they don't even pick up garbage regularly. Garbage could sit on Clarendon Road between Kings Highway and Ralph. They could sit there for a week, and yet they could come and give tickets to some people one evening and then return their money after they paid it. And the comment most people made was, really, when they don't even pick up garbage here sometimes for a week, no matter how many times you call them and complain.
Well, I would like to invite all of us, all of you, to think about, the suggestions that I made, and I really think that those actions will definitely spark a change. We might have to be disruptive in order for us to get the kind of response that we're looking for. Disrupt the status quo. The way that things are going, it needs to end. The way that things are being done, it needs to end.
But
You
I
know,
think one of the things you have to do is you're sitting on that board now and they have new board members and all that. One of the things I think the board needs to be more responsive to the community. I don't get the feeling that this board really cares about the residents of this community, and they're supposed to represent the 50 people should represent the wider community. And I don't see the board taking responsibility for doing anything besides coming every month and just rubber stamping some liquor licenses and stuff like that. I don't see one thing that the board actually does. I don't know if they know their job.
that is a fair statement. And like I said, I've definitely had several conversations with multiple board members, and I know I'm not the only person that thinks the way that you do and are interested in things being different too. Um, I think at this meeting tomorrow, I am going to make an attempt to speak with um, the board members that will be sitting up on that stage, probably after the meeting, and talking about these things face to face and see what kind of response that I get.
Some of them are the main ringleaders.
Well, if that is the case, I think that, just like I believe that, my being here is definitely contingent on me actually trying to get something done. And I think that, you know, that's definitely something that should be addressed with the other board members as well. I'm sure they know that, of course. Um, but yeah, that I think that conversation about doing things differently should be addressed. And I think that, you know, if they're informed that things might be a bit disruptive, a bit more, so depending on how this meeting goes Wednesday, that they're definitely going to be interested in making some changes, I would think.
Good luck.
You know, I appreciate the luck, but I don't need the luck. What I need are you guys.
Oh, don't. No, I don't think they'll hurt you. They're
What?
just gonna be, they're a tight band of unmarried men and women. They
Well, I
do.
am too, so I don't know if
Okay,
that's really right.
understand you said they've been together for a very long time. And they will stick together.
Well, I have to say specifically, you did mention that, the people on the stage are the ringleaders. And,
Yeah.
I will say that there's at least one of them that I can say for sure, which is definitely on the same page as what we all discussed here. So
Oh,
there's
good.
at least one of them in dissent, at least one of them
Good.
at the very
That's
least.
no good. Very good.
So there's hope. There's
Okay,
hope.
there's hope.
And I think if, some of the things that I suggested tonight, if they are put into effect at every single meeting until something changes, things are going to change. That is a guarantee. If that happens, things will will be changed. Things are going to change.
There's only 3 more meetings.
Yeah, that's. Oh, well, looks like we're going to have to do something significant over the next 3 meetings then.
Yeah. And then we have a new chair. So somebody, I don't know how that's going to work at your board meetings, how y'all elect the new chair.
Hope springs eternal.
Because the 2 years is up. So hopefully you guys don't put somebody in there that don't need to be there.
You know, I wish I had more to add to that, but
Yeah,
I don't-
so hopefully y'all nominate someone that will look out for the community. That's mine.
I hope so too.
Yeah. And y'all won't blindly nominate and vote for the person that doesn't belong there.
Yeah, I've never been the kind of person to just do that myself, honestly. I've been more of a disruptor, I guess you could say. So I definitely understand where you're coming from, and there's nothing good that's going to come of electing someone that's just going to do that. But
Yeah, but if it's not enough for you, if there's 50 people on the board and some people don't step down.
well, you know, maybe we don't need all 50 to
I
get
don't know
what
how
we're looking
I don't know
for.
how the voting goes. So I didn't read the bylaws.
Yeah, I don't think we need all 50. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure we don't. We don't. But yeah, you know, I think there's a lot here to digest, and I think it's time to stir things up a bit. That's what I
Yeah.
think.
It's been a long time. It should have been stirred up a long time ago. But that's my feedback.
Well, hopefully I don't get in too much trouble Wednesday, but we'll see what happens.
We'll give you some band-aids.
I'll appreciate that, of course. Well, at the very least, it should be entertaining. At the very least. But yeah. Did anyone else have anything that they wanted to add?
Monica McCain Brown. I've been listening, and I've heard Miss Martinez and Miss Squashy, and I'm in total agreement. And again, the sentiment is the same, and that's why some of us move away. I walk Church Avenue, I walk Nostrand Avenue. It's filthy. People are doing their own thing, setting up their own businesses outside the stores, whether it's their jerk chicken or whatever, and saying, well, nobody can do anything to me. And I think it's appalling that this at this East Flatbush has become what it has become. And I've been here over 50 years, and I've lived in the same area of East Flatbush, more or less within that time. And it's horrendous. And I agree completely with the ladies. Things are not happening. And the elected officials seem to be there for themselves and not for the community. Likewise, I think though some of us need to know what is expected to us. And I'm an immigrant myself. As I said, I've been here over 50 years. And I think some of us need to know how to behave and conduct ourselves in terms of how we treat the streets. I heard Miss Squashy talk about it. You know, if you come from somewhere else, you learn that certain things you don't do, and I think it's a two-way street. So I think we also need to teach the children. We need to teach the people because this is your community and you should have pride in your community. So when we dump also, we're also responsible for the filth that we see on the streets. So I think it's everybody working together. But it's a shame that many of our elected officials are not there for us. And we elected them because we thought we can go to them and get some help. So let's see, as was said, let's see. Some people's minds can be changed on the board and see if they can really realize it's not all about me. but it's about the community and what I can do for the community and not for self.
Thank you. I obviously agree with everything that you just said as well. And yeah.
And I just have to make one more comment
Mhm.
before I leave. I also see that they have a new interest. We have new neighbors called the Hasidics. They're moving quite rapidly into our community, and that's who has their attention.
Yeah.
And so that's where they go to those off sites upstate and they spend their time with them and they will give them hours of their attention where we can't get any, not even 30 minutes. And if they do come, they do a quick photo shoot, take a picture, and then they leave. And so I have, they give us nothing. Nothing. So you can't even have a direct conversation with them. So when you mentioned that you couldn't get any attention from Kevin Parker's office, the only way that you're going to get his attention is to show up at an event where it's going to be a lot of coverage, and that's how you get to have a conversation with them. That's your best bet.
And you know what he told me at one of those events? That when we spoke about housing, everybody can't live here. And if you tell anybody I said that, I'll deny it.
Hmm.
Mhm. And I don't care if everyone doesn't vote for me because I'm never going to get 100% of the vote.
Mhm. You know, I tell you something. I'm sorry. Was someone else going to say something? Okay. You know, it would be so easy to flip this whole thing on its head if enough of us came together. And when I say enough of us, I mean people in the community, not just people on the board or committee members. I mean people in the community that really are sick and tired of the way things are going. You know, we are constantly relying on other people to do what they're supposed to do for us. And the reality is, we have the ability to do that ourselves. And, you know, you brought up the Hasidic community, and they have done that. They have come together and utilize their resources to impact politics, impact their community. And there's so many of us in this community, so many people. And if we channeled even a very, very tiny amount of our resources and we put them together, we could give all of these elected officials a run for their money. And it would be such an easy thing to do if we just took a little bit of time, spoke to each other, and came together and put this into action. I mean, it really is that simple. Other people in other communities have figured this out. And, you know, that really is something that I would like to work on. But that's for, you know, the future. I just wanted to put that in there. So with all that said, if there isn't anything further, unless anyone else had something else they wanted to say. Okay. I think that this meeting was productive. I think that there's definitely an opportunity coming for things to change with the people that I've spoken to, and then the things that we discussed tonight, that there is an opportunity for things to change in the near future. So, you know, hopefully Wednesday will be the beginning of that, and you know, take it from there. So, is there anyone that would like to adjourn for the night?
This is Hazel Martinez, and I adjourn the meeting at 8:32 p.m.
Vanessa Quashie seconds it.
All right. Well, everyone have a great night, and see you guys Wednesday.
Be safe.
Okay.
You too.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.